Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Stencil Saturday video. This week we are working with my Bordered Crossed Squares stencil. And so you can see this is similar to the Crossed Squares stencil, but it has like this little border or like sashing between them. What we're going to do this week is very simple. We're just going to do a really cool kind of grid. It's gonna almost, when it's done, it almost reminds me of like a plaid. So all we're really gonna stitch are a lot of straight lines. So the first step here is that I'm gonna go ahead and stitch all of the lines of the stencil, meaning all of these vertical lines and all of the horizontal lines. And then we're gonna go from there. So you could do all of this at once. So what we're going to do once we stitch the main lines in of the stencil, we're going to add some additional lines here and there to create kind of a pattern and make it kind of an unusual grid, even though it's still going to be a fairly basic grid. But what I find, and I'm sure that if you've stitched a design that has a lot of straight lines in it before, so if I would stitch this line and then stitch a whole bunch of other lines in here, as I go, you're going to get some shrinkage. And what's going to happen is that you'll notice that some of your stencil lines are going to be like bowed and things because of the shrinkage. So I'm going to go ahead and do just these main lines minus the X's because we don't need the X's at all for this design. And then I'll go back and fill in. So I'm going to start up here in the corner, and I'll speed the stitching up so that you don't have to watch me stitch the whole grid. Okay, so now that I've finished the main lines of the stencil, I'm going to go back up. You could have started from right there, but I think I just like to start up at the top again. And you can see we have the main lines of the stencil. And in reality, we really could kind of get rid of all of these now if we wanted to. I'm not going to worry about it. But I'm going to come back up here to the top. So the plan is I want to stitch in 3 1/4-inch lines here, 3 1/4-inch lines next to each one of these 1/2-inch lines. So that'll look neat because we're going to have 1/2 inch, 3 1/4-inch, and then we're going to come back and do it this direction as well. So we'll have, these are going to cross in the corner here and go from, this is a 1/2-inch square. So in the corners of each square, you're going to have these cool little 1/4-inch grid in here. And because we're going to put the lines, then in the center, we're going to leave open a square. So that's like a even bigger. So we'll have like 1-inch, 1/4-inch squares and 1/2-inch squares. So I think it's going to look really neat. So again, I'm just going to do this really methodically. I'm just going to go through, stitch top to bottom, and stitch these in everywhere. So I'll stitch these first few, and then I'll speed up this video so you don't have to watch for so long. So I'm just, to do a 1/4-inch line, if you've used a ruler, you know that you're lining the edge up with the previous stitched line. So I'm just gonna and then I want to do 3 of these, so I'm just gonna go back up. the way to the top. And then one last 1/4 inch line. And then I'll scoot over to this one. And I want to put the 3/4 inch lines on this side of the line. Okay, so now that I finished that, and you're going to probably notice a little kind of pause in the video there as I was stitching that because I totally lost track and I stitched a line in the wrong place, so I had to stop and rip it out so I could fix it. You know, happens almost every time. So let me get rid of these threads here. We can take a look at this. I mean, I think it's really... the texture is really good. You know, you have these little, you know, you have the 1/2 inch lines here. So then it makes like this nice long little rectangle. Then you have the 1/2 inch squares. You have these like mini little 9 patches here. And then it does, you know, then it goes into this big square. So I think the texture is really good. You have a lot of different levels of quilting within that grid, and it really to me does remind me of a plaid. So I hope you enjoyed this design, and I will see you next time. Bye.